Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another episode of the strategy series. This one comes at the request of Frank Miller, actually, so shout out to Frank. He asked for the strategy series, how to counter U6, and this is something I've been working on and something I knew I needed to get out there because it's a very popular deck, so we're going to talk about it today. Before we do that though, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date for videos just like this. If you guys are looking for a Dragon Ball Super community to get in touch with, make sure you look at the Discord in the description below. Excellent group of people. If you guys want to get caught up on some competitive content now that we are in regional season, check out the Patreon in the description below. Lots of good stuff, and it helps the channel out a lot. Also, if you want to help the channel out, make sure to use my TCG player link in the description below, especially if you want to buy any of these cards that you can use to beat U6. So that being said, we'll hop right into the video. So first thing you'll see on the big part of the left is the Vegeta Baby leader. So this leader is probably the best leader in a vacuum you could play against the U6 strategy, because on his unawakened side, you can once per turn take a life, and then you can minus 5,000 any battle card your opponent controls. So a big thing about this list is going to be countering their unable to be KO'd skills. So if you guys don't know, the one drop Kale and Caulifla, they cannot be KO'd by your opponent's skills, but if you decrease them to 0 power, that is going to remove them from the board by game mechanics, so you're not going to be KOing them, so you get around their effect that way. So Vegeta Baby literally has free removal against those guys, unlike really any other leader has. And then on the backside, the minus 10,000 to your opponent's battle cards also incredibly relevant. So if you guys know that if you guys follow the channel, the Patreon, you know that I've been playing this deck a lot. I like it a lot. I think it's well positioned in the format. We're going to be talking about a pretty decent amount of baby cards in this thing, but there's a lot of cards for each color to kind of counteract what U6 tries to do. So first things first, Vow's Revenge. This is like a decent sideboard card, but not the best card you can play. It's pretty good if you're playing like Dr. Mew, where you don't have like a lot of inherent minus effects. So it's just like a one card removal for like any of their little guys. It also helps you deal with like their Champavados if you have another way to decrease the last 4,000. So decent card. Then we have Unexpected Turn. So there's like a slight difference between Unexpected Turn and Kami Global Unifier. So Unexpected Turn is going to basically, they're going to go really wide on the board normally. So you hold this for when they go for their 4th battle card, you get rid of it, and then you also warp all their other guys that are 2-drop and less. So you get to clear all their little 1-drops, prevent them from evolving on top of them. The difference between that and Kami Global Unifier is Kami is going to help you deal with all of the big guys. So all their like 2-drops and higher don't really have protection effects, but this is not going to get rid of their 1-drop Kales and Cauliflas. So it kind of depends like what your deck's able to do. Like maybe if your deck is good at dealing with the little ones, maybe if you have like some minus 5,000 power effects, maybe Kami's better for you so you can deal with the big guys. Or if your deck is better equipped to deal with the 4-drop Kale and Caulifla, maybe you play Unexpected Turn so that you can easily deal with the little versions of them. So just something to keep in mind there. Heroes Mafuba, you're going to see regular Mafuba in this video later on. Mafuba is excellent, specifically against Champavados. So, a lot of times, these U6 decks want to go aggro. They want to get that free swing in with the Champavados. If you're able to Heroes Mafuba or Mafuba the Champavados, you pretty much turn their deck off. It makes them a heck of a lot slower. So, just keep that in mind there. And Heroes Mafuba will pick up a bit of relevance here. I think it got bought out recently, but a lot of the new gods and Namekians are becoming a lot more playable. So, keep that in mind. Urgent Aid Kami. So green doesn't have too many things that help against U6, especially because the 1-drops can't be KO'd, but of course you can KO the big ones, the 4-drops and higher. But what I wanted to point out here is like cards like Kami, cards like Borgos, pretty good against U6 because a lot of these decks do aim to use Senzu Bean offensively to kind of get their arrivals going, get their plays going. So having this in your main or sideboard can definitely help against that matchup. Paralysis Technique. So this is one that you'll see a lot in Frieza Prison. You can also play in like Red Frieza Swap. So you minus 5,000 their entire board. So it is actually a way that a different red leader besides Vegeta Baby can get a lot of minus effects. So doing that in either Prison or Frieza Swap is really good. If you're playing Frieza Swap, it's definitely a rogue pick right now, but this is going to be one of your premier options to deal with U6 in my opinion. Fortune Teller Baba. This is one of the minus 5,000 effects that actually get you a card back. So unlike Vow Revenge, when you combo with this card, you'll minus 5,000 something and you actually get a draw out of it. Of course, this gets a little more synergy in an Earthling based deck, but you don't really need the Earthling part. All you need to do is combo it from board and draw a card and then minus 5,000 something. Then we have Gallic Cannon. So this is a really cool card. I want to bring up Revenge Death Ball first because a lot of people know if you've played against Vegeta Baby, if you swing with a 25k attacker, they can after image the attacker, bring it down to 15,000, and then they can Revenge Death Ball the same attacker. So basically for 2 cards and 2 energy, they dealt with your attacker. It seems kind of steep, but against the right things, it can be very crucial in the game plan. What I like about Gallic Cannon is there's a new counterplay coming out in the draft box. What it says is when the battle card is played, choose up to one of those battle cards and it gets minus 15,000 power for duration of the turn. So this is almost like a Revenge Death Ball that is generic for other red decks. You don't even have to have a red leader, which is pretty nice. So you can like Gallic Cannon, something that comes into play, and then you can after image it when it attacks and deal the 25k thing the same way. It's a little bit less sneaky than Revenge Death Ball because Death Ball is activated in combos, but nonetheless, these are all cards that help you deal with like Chomp of Vados, help you deal with the little 1-drops, help you deal with the 4-drops. Pretty important stuff. Is it all you got? Again, same idea. Kills 2 1-drops for the price of 2 cards. Even exchange there, but it can be very crucial to getting rid of your opponent's evolved targets. Oolong's Wish, this is one that I came across I thought was kind of funny. This is not like the first thing I'd recommend, but it is a side deck option for Wish strategies. So if your leader card's a Shenron, draw 1, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and gets minus 5,000 power for duration of the turn. I always thought that Scheming Oolong and this card were like a really good pair because Scheming Oolong will draw 2, this draws 1, but nonetheless, just something to think about. After image, one of the strongest negates in the game. This is really good against U6. Again, just like minusing that Champa any way you can, or just dealing with their 1-drops nonetheless. Planet M2, this is going to be a very splashable red tech for any deck that plays red. So like if you're playing like Red Blue Hero or Pan, for example, you just have constant removal of the 1-drops, really good. Mutaito is going to be good against like their Secret Rare or their Union Patora. Yeah, Union Patora Kefla. So just resting those big things so they can't attack you. Paternal Bonds, I love this card so much, and you guys will probably hear me talk about this card a lot on this channel. Negate the attack, and then you may choose one of your cards, switch to rest mode, and if you do, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch to rest mode. So for one energy and one card, and you know, tapping something on your board can be a bit useless. Hopefully like a field spell, ideally. You can stop 2 of your opponent's attacks. So it's really good when you have like a Planet Vegeta on your board. You just rest that and then you stop 2 attacks. But sometimes you won't always have that. So this isn't the best card, but it's a less expensive version of Nimbus in some instances. Then we have Restrain. This is also decent against like all the 1-drops. So let's say your opponent attacks with like a 4-drop Kale, and then they want to evolve the Caulifla into play. So if you activate Restrain on the attack, you rest the 1-drop Caulifla, and then when they evolve, it'll come in rest mode, so that alleviates some of that aggro on you. Time Magic, decent against the Brilliant Pairing Kefla that they like to play. The Flying Nimbus, of course, limits their number of attacks. We've seen Nimbus time and time again. Crusher Ball, not the best, but decent against. I don't think their SCR has. I don't think the SCR has Deflect, but that's not even the one that I'm really talking about. It's decent against Chomp of Vados because Chomp of Vados cannot protect itself from battle. So this is a good card to just let it come into play rest mode and then try and beat over it next turn with a battle card or a leader. Then we have Trading Buddy Krillin, a little bit of a minus 5k effect for black decks, or black leader decks specifically. Mafuba, kind of talked about it. Now we have some counterplays, Preemptive Strike, and Denial of Hope. So these cards are excellent against Chomp of Vados. So really good against Chomp of Vados because Chomp of Vados requires a 3-card commitment. You have the blue card you combo with, the yellow card you combo with, or in some cases a blue-yellow card, so maybe a 1-card commitment. And then you have the Chomp of Vados itself. So 2 to 3 cards are committing to this. And if you're just playing a red or green deck, or blue if you're playing Your Wide Open, but Your Wide Open kind of stinks because it puts it back in their hand. But the point is, if you're keeping energy up for these counterplays, you're going to go +2 on your opponent. They're going to lose 3 cards, so maybe sometimes 2, but you're only going to lose 1 card. So really good exchange there. They basically can't play Chomp of Vados into these things. And Preemptive Strike 2, like I mentioned before, green doesn't have a ton of great cards against this strategy, but Preemptive Strike is one of the best to stop that Chomp of Vados. Predator Strike, Super Saiyan God, Vegeta. So this is a generic minus 5,000, but it's also like it brings me up to talk about the Gogeta archetype itself because you have the minus 5,000 effects, the minus 10,000 effect of the 3-drop Vegeta, and your Gogetas can attack active modes. So the 1-drops only protect themselves from being KO'd by skills, which I sometimes see people make a mistake of. They don't protect themselves from effects, from battle, sorry. So you can either minus 5,000 their board, or you can attack over their entire board in the Gogeta archetype. Haruharu, one of the cards that U6 hates the most. A lot of U6 decks don't play Frost Poison, so this is going to usually be free to play. You know, for the most part, you're just going to play it, untap all your energy. Especially if your opponent's playing Kava, they can't play the Whis or Borgos to stop this. So Haruharu is an incredible sideboard against that matchup. Test of Strength Son Goku, obviously you pair it with Test of Strength Oob, and that is some World Tournament removal for the U6 archetype, where you're either playing Announcer, maybe Oob, or maybe like some Blue Yellow Jackie Chun. You get rid of their small guys on the board, you can get rid of their 4-drops or their 1-drops, and because it puts them to the bottom of the deck, it gets around that can't be KO'd skill. Then we have Oath's Power Tapion, another good blue card, putting those cards on top of the deck. Sometimes you don't really want to put like Sister Attack Kale on there because they can just play it again and look at the top 10 and get pluses. But if they have like a 4-drop that you want to get rid of, this is good. It puts it on top of the deck. You can also try to like bait out Chompavatos, things like that. It's just good removal. You can get rid of the 1-drops if you really need to. Ultimate Judgment Jocko, I feel like is actually really good, but kind of slept on because you're going to be able to just deny them from evolving onto a small guy from comboing because you bounce the combo back to their hand. Really good. Vegeta the Cruel is good against any of the combo into plays they try and play. So like you can let them combo into play a Caulifla. They think they're going to tap you out. Then you respond with Vegeta the Cruel before they tap you out. And then you just you go pretty plus on that exchange. You get rid of a battle card and a card in their hand. Godstrike Beerus, another decent green card, but really just a splashable card in general. You can kind of bait your opponent to going all in on like that last Caulifla double strike. And then you just Godstrike away the double strike. And the thing with like U6 Kaba specifically is they can't play around this very well because they can't play Furthering Instruction Champa or the Double Strike Supreme Kai. So basically, if you guys don't know, Godstrike can only take away 1 instance of Double Strike. So if a card somehow gained Double Strike twice, it would have 2 Double Strike keywords on it technically. So that's how some people can play around Godstrike Beerus. U6 Kaba can't really do that because you can't play Furthering Instruction Champa or the Double Strike Kai in your deck. Then we have Piccolo Assimilated Ability. This is one of my favorite cards coming out of the draft box. This card is such high value because U6 can't really deal with barrier as long as you don't swing with it. And once per turn during battle, you just get to pop a 5 or less for free. So, and you draw a card. So you don't get to deal with the 1-drops per se, but you do get to deal with any of the combo into plays they summon. So really, really good value here for green decks. Sandstring Baby with the 6-drop Apocalypse Great Ape. This just really cleans up the U6 matchup. It's super, super good. SS3 Bardock Power Unleashed. This is another way to just deal with their entire board. So think about Kami, think about Unexpected Turn and putting it all together. You get that for this 5 energy play. Not the best card in the game, but pretty decent. A general board wipe, ignores barrier, pretty good. Then we have Ultimate Fusion Gogeta, a 5-drop blue that puts cards at the bottom of the deck. So whether you want to get rid of the combo into plays or the little Kale and Caulifla, you can do that. Then we have Super Saiyan Vegeta, Exploiting Weakness, another one of my favorite cards from the draft box. So counterplay, if your leader is red, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. When you play this card on either player's turn, note that choose all of your opponent's battle cards and they get minus 20,000 power for duration of the turn. And if it's your opponent's turn, choose up to one of your leader cards and it gets 5,000 power for duration of the turn. So this card is incredible in the U6 matchup. If your leader is red, you don't really want to cast 5 for it. It's too expensive and you might not live till turn 5. But if your leader is red, this is going to clear their entire board exactly when you summon it. The only way they can really stop this is if they do Tech Frost Poison and they haven't tapped any of their energy. So this card is incredibly good. We talked about Gogeta already, and then we have the big boy Hirudegarn who top decks your opponent's battle cards. So again, it gets around that unable to be KO'd skill. So I talked about a ton of cards here. I think it's like 35 cards or something like that. So hopefully you guys get some help from this. I think there's one for every color. Again, hopefully this is helpful. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have any better ways to deal with U6, maybe some strategies, maybe some ways you play around it. Thank you for watching. My name is Joey. This is CrossFit TCG, and I'll see you guys in the next video.